Hey, good morning. Welcome to Hobby Evolution episode 1328. It is Thursday. Thursday already. This week's gone kind of quick, and I have nothing going on this weekend except for shipping and listing and shipping. I do need to quickly get prepared for next weekend. I'll be in Chicago at the Sports Spectacular at the Donald Stevens Convention Center. I'll be there Saturday, walking the floor, and then Sunday I will be set up. A friend of mine has a table open on Sunday only, so I will be set up on Sunday at the Sports Spectacular. So I'm trying to, I'd like to get another Chicago Cubs quarter box ready. And I'd also like to get some dollar box stuff ready for Chicago. So that's the plan. So let's see, what else do we have? Nothing going on this weekend. Next weekend Spectacular. And then 2 weeks away from the next Madison card show, Saturday, November 30th, Sheraton Hotel, John Nolan Drive. That is the Saturday of Thanksgiving weekend. It's funny because people are like, oh, you can't do card shows on holidays. Those are like the best trafficked card shows. I don't want to say that too often because more shows will start running on holidays because people want to get out, especially on Thanksgiving. I didn't know what I was doing when I started the Madison card show. And when we put dates together, I eyed that Saturday of Thanksgiving weekend. And I had a co-promoter at the time. And I told him, I said, let's do the Saturday of Thanksgiving. He's like, oh, I don't know about that. Nobody will come because it's a holiday. And I said, let's just do it because nobody's running card shows on that weekend at that time, three years ago. At least I'm sure there are. Somebody could be like, well, in Texas, we have card shows. In Utah, we have card shows on Thanksgiving weekend. But around here, we didn't. So we did. And like, I was just eyeing that date. I'm like, it's going to be go big or go home. It's either going to be, I didn't think there was going to be middle ground. It's either going to be an amazing success or it's going to be just a shitty show. And it was a great success. And I think that was the show that really propelled what became of the Madison Card Show and growing tables. Because I think to that point, we were hitting like 35, 40 tables. And once we got going with that, it blossomed into a 100 plus and then eventually 200 table show. So I've run this weekend. I think there was 1 year that I was not able to secure the date, but we're doing it this year. I think I had it last year. Might have been, was it 20? So 21 would have been the first year. 22, I think I did not secure the weekend. Or maybe it was last year, and I was able to secure it in 2022. I can't remember. But one of the last 4 years was not able to secure it. It was 2022 because I had to run against the Spectacular. It was the second year we did the show. And it was like, oh, shows are dying. And that was far from the case. So Saturday, November 30th. Speaking of Madison Card Show, I was looking ahead, and I know Michael is a dealer. I know Max. I don't know if Max is awake yet, but I was looking at the Green Bay Card Show dates, and Matt's running the KI show on May 24th, which will likely be the same day as the Madison Card Show. Now, you're thinking, but you always run Memorial Day weekend. And yes, I have run Memorial Day weekend every single year until now because I have a wedding. My wife has two first cousins, and one of them is getting married on May 31st. So we will be in Boca Raton, Florida on May 31st. So there will not be a Madison Card Show on Memorial Day weekend this year. So my date will be May 24th. In the instance that date, because I haven't secured dates yet, and I won't be able to secure the second quarter dates until probably January, February. My date will be May 24th. If that date is not taken, it'll be May 17th. And the reason, well, why not run May 17th? Because I always run third or fourth weekends. There's been like one time in the last 3.5 years where I've run like a second weekend where it's been 2 or 3 weeks between shows. Not ideal. I would rather run against Green Bay than to run shows within a 2-week time span. Now, sometimes that I don't have control of that. Like I don't have control of May 31st. I've got a wedding. I can't. Oh, nope. Can't do that. Change your wedding date. But I also have to go up against, this is promoter's life. Like family first. Sometimes dates don't work for me. Second, I'm dealing with the hotel, and sometimes their dates don't work with what I want. And then, obviously customers and dealers, well, I can't do that because they have family obligations. So it is what it is. So the backup plan, if the hotel is not available May 24th, I would do May 17th. I would just have to backdate my April date, which actually this works out because I'm running the last weekend. So January through March, signed, sealed, delivered. Those dates are set. But April, May, June, obviously not set. The rest of 2025. So I would probably push up the April show date to the 3rd Saturday, and then run the 17th if the 24th isn't available. But I want to be consistent. And however, the trouble with consistency is when you start running 3-4 months in a row on the last weekend, well, your show's always on the 4th Saturday. Well, it has been, but it's not always. So I just want to reiterate the fact that my show does not have set weekend. It's not always the 4th weekend of the month. It's not always the 3rd weekend of the month. It just varies. It varies on my personal schedule. It varies on the Sheraton's booking schedule. So I don't have a choice. Pearl Jam concert in August bumped me up. Wedding in May will bump me up. Sometimes weddings at the Sheraton will bump me back or up. So just be prepared. May 2025 may have conflicting dates with the Green Bay show, which I hate to run against the Green Bay show because Matt, who runs that show, he's been a regular dealer at my show since the second month, since May of 2021. I think the only show they've missed has been when I had to run against their show in April of last year, and don't want to do that, but we'll see. And I'll look at dates and maybe my first choice is May 17th, and I do bump April up, and I want to try to be as consistent as possible, but I do know that being consistent, and then when things come up, well, you're always on the 4th month or the 4th week. So I'll look into dates as we get closer to locking dates down for 2025 or for second quarter 2025. And I'll just see what else I'm up against. And maybe, April 20, and April's a weird month where it's like March. How's the calendar roll? So it's going to be, either way you slice it, it's going to be bumped. There's going to be some months where it's kind of squeezing in. Where the hell's my calendar? So let's see. So March is the 29th. So it would be, it's not ideal any way you look at it. So March 29th, and that's locked in. And then, so right now I'm looking at May 7th or May 24th, April 26th, May 24th, June 28th. Of course, many things can happen between now and when I book. So Madison Card Show. Next one, Saturday, November 30th, Sheraton Hotel, John Nolan Drive. What else is going on? Yesterday I did a lot more shipping. I am under 100 orders to ship out. And yesterday was actually a decent sales day. Yesterday was a good sales day. But I was able to get a ton of shipping done. I think I'm under 100 orders to ship. We're going to talk about what is selling on eBay. And here's it's not a secret, but here's a tip. If you don't know, you can look at what people are selling. Like just go to 99centcards.com. Let's flash it on the screen. 99centcards.com. That will bring you to my eBay store. Go to my listings, and you can do just like you look up sold listings for a Peyton Manning football card. You can do that in eBay stores, and you can look at what your friends are selling or what your competitors are selling, what Burbank is selling, what I'm selling, what anybody's selling. And so you can take a look and see what they're selling on a day-to-day basis or whatever. So what is selling? We're going to talk about that because like I've talked about the last couple of weeks, clickbait, eBay, oh my God, I'm no sales on eBay. And it's like, I'm not experiencing that. I've had some down days, but that's sales. I mean, and I speak that until I'm blue in the face. Like any type of sales, you're going to have a day where it's like, well, that was a shitty day. You just put your helmet back on and you go to work the next day. And then all of a sudden you have what happened today. And usually when you have those great sales days, there was a foundation laid. And it wasn't because you had a shitty sales day and you just went to the internet and complained and cried about low sales. No. You went to work and you listed a shit ton of cards. That's actually a metric unit of scale here in the Midwest, a shit ton. It's a little bit more than a buttload, a shit ton of cards. So you list a shit ton. And then all of a sudden it's like, wow, how come yesterday my sales sucked, but today they were awesome? Well, because you didn't go to the internet and cry yesterday. You went to work. And that's why. So what is selling? And sometimes that's unavoidable. Sometimes you do have shitty days and you just have shitty days. It happens. What else? I did listed more auctions last night. You can find those at 99centcards.com. I'd like to consistently have 500 auctions running at any given time. So obviously I had I didn't run many auctions last week because I was kind of inundated with getting caught up on shipping. Now I'm caught up and I'm able to list. So was able to spend some time yesterday listing and listing auctions. And why were my sales down a couple days this past weekend? Because I was focused on shipping. I wasn't listing anything last week. There you go. You lay on your well, I wasn't. I was shipping my ass off, but you take a couple days off from listing and guess what? There's going to be a trickle down effect and my sales are down. Auctions, I got some buy it now items up. So check them all out. 99centcards.com. That's like all I did. I finally, you know what's really strange? It's November 14th. I haven't worn a coat yet this year. This year. I wore a coat probably in like March, but since summer, I haven't worn a coat. Now, I'm not like spending a lot of time outside. If I was taking Ernie on walks, Ernie gets plenty of playtime. I'm not neglecting him from walks. He's getting plenty of exercise at doggy daycare. But if he was home and we went for a walk, I'd probably be putting a jacket on. But I haven't, like, if I just run to the post office, I don't need a jacket. I just wear something long sleeve. So it's weird. Last night, my wife was on the phone with a coworker, and her coworker said something about, I need to get a flu shot. Have you got your flu shot? I'm like, oh shit. I look at my wife. She had it on speakerphone. I'm like, oh shit. I haven't got my flu shot yet. And I'm like, God damn, it's mid-November. Like as I'm watching like a Hallmark Christmas movie, like, oh shit, it's November. Duh. But it's just like, it's been mild. It's been mild. Like it's cold. Like if I were going to spend more than 5 minutes outside, I'd wear a coat. But we're talking like in the 50s, which is kind of a little like, it's not terribly unseasonably warm, but it is a little unseasonable. So I also hadn't like winterized. Now we brought in like our cushions and, some of our outdoor furniture, but like my hoses were still hooked up. Water's still on for the outside spigots. Our outdoor decor was still out. I'm like, oh shit. So I did have some time, but it was by the time I realized I better get this stuff taken in. I was losing daylight, so I got half of it done. I brought some of the decor in, brought the hoses in. I still need to turn the water off. I've got two. The back water shut off is like over there, and then the front water shut off is over there. And then I have to get like a ladder to get up there because it's all the way up on the ceiling here in the basement. So so I've got to get the water shut off, and then we've got some big like flower pots out front that I need to bring a couple of those in. So loaded a few more boxes into my car to eventually get to my storage unit. So getting that work done. Let's go to the chat. I don't really have anything to talk about today except for what's selling in my eBay store. Andy Mack is here. Oh, by the way, I'm back on StreamYard. StreamYard is back up and working. What's up, Andy? We had to go on YouTube Live yesterday, and it sucks. Like, remember when I loved YouTube Live? It's like, I don't want to go to StreamYard. I'm paying for it, but I don't want to stream on it. And now it's like, God, YouTube sucks. I need StreamYard back. David, what's going on? Good morning. Cooter's here. What's happening? Victor's in the house. Good morning. Michael Renicky is here. Good morning. Boston Smoke in the house. Orlando is here. Brian, buenos dias. Peter, what's happening? Good morning. Michael Renicky says you had it last year. Yeah, missed 2022, Thanksgiving weekend. So as I was speaking it out, it dawned on me that it was 2022 because I remember I had to run against the Spectacular to both March and November, which is not ideal because I lose like 15 of my regular dealers that set up in Chicago. So was able to avoid it. I was able to avoid it this past March, again this month, and next March. I'm able to avoid the Spectacular, which is ideal. Bushnell Prairie City is in the hizzy. What's up, Bushnell? Red Light 34 is here. Good morning. Philly Joe's in the house. Good morning. Red Light 34 is here. Jody is here. Good morning. Anthony Thomas in the house. Good morning. Red Light says hi to Orlando. Anthony, good morning. I'm looking through my inventory. I'm finding a lot of NBA hoops boxes. NBA hoops. What years? I don't know much about. I listed a bunch of basketball last night. I don't know. I was actually talking with somebody in the chat. I won't reveal who, because it was a private chat, but was talking about running auctions. And I'd mentioned it's auctions don't always work. Like this past Tuesday night, some of my auctions, probably should have just lowered the buy it now price and not taken the lumps. But at the same time, I have best offer open on all of my items. So even if it's high priced, somebody wants to put a low ball offer in, I'm open to it. Now, if it's $1 offer on my Mike Trout Blue Refractor Auto, yeah, you're just going to get declined. But if it's a Derek Stingley that I have overpriced at $50 and you offer me 20, I'd take it. Or hell, even 10, better than 99 cents that it sold for on auction. But there's a lot of cases. I was talking about auctions on Saturday at the card show in Rockford where, like, I don't know hockey and I don't know soccer and shit. I don't know much about football and basketball, but I'm learning every day. And when I'm running auctions, I like, oh shit. Like I had some young guns and young guns in hockey to me are a lot like Pokemon. I'll have a binder of Pokemon. I just assume they're all worthless. They're all just like bulk. But then like sometimes if they're shiny, I'll be like, oh, they might be something. And it's like, oh, they're $1. Or I'll say, Max, anything good in here? He's like, oh, that's a $75 card. Oh, shit. And that's similar to hockey. And with young guns, it's like, oh, young guns. But most young guns, it's like, it's just a rookie card. Kind of like in baseball. Like not every rookie card is created equal. So I ran a bunch of young guns at auction last week. And, like one or two didn't sell at 99 cents. A couple of them sold for 99 cents. And then like 2 or 3 of them sold for like $6, $7, $8. And I'm like, oh shit. So that's what I like about auctions. I don't have to comp. Now, some of the stuff that I do know the value of, if it undersells, like, oh, I'm upset. But if it's hockey and soccer, like whatever I can sell it for, I'm happy with. Like, as long as I'm dumb and don't know what the comp is, like, oh, it sold for $7. And somebody, hockey collector, was, well, that's a $20 card. Like, oh, well, I got $7 and I'm happy with it. Because if it's hockey and soccer, I likely didn't pay for it. I'm going to use air quotes. I didn't pay for it because I didn't consider it as part of the buy, right? Like when I look at collections in bulk, I don't price in like hockey and soccer. Like I don't know anything about it. That's just going to go in a quarter box type of deal. Like I'll pay a penny for it. So it's just easy money if it's good and sells. Mr. Archer's here. Good morning. Sports card ripping teacher. What's up? Where do we stand on the Bear win total after last week's beatdown from the Pats? Well, you can go back and watch Bears Suck Monday, and we talked all about the Bears. It's not 10 anymore, that's for sure. But I still think it's going to be more than 5. I'm thinking probably realistically, if I had to put a number down, I'd say 7. The Bears are at 4 wins now. So they'd have to go, 3 and 5, which is still kind of a tall task with their schedule and how they look over the last couple of weeks. So I'm going to say 7. It's going to be a running total, kind of like vintage is a running, like each year it kind of extends out further. Now we're at 1997 for vintage Cooter. But it's going to be a running total the rest of the way out. But right now I'm like, 7. It's going to be between 5 and 10. It's not going to be 5. It's not going to be 10. So it's going to be 6 through 9. Where are we at? John, MySpace stream link isn't working. Zach and Low Roller Scratcher are the 2 biggest eBay stalkers known to mankind. Oh, there's some good ones on the blowout forums. There's a good thread. It's actually very helpful, insightful. For the most part, sometimes there's infighting and it's just ego fights. But usually if you wade through that, there's some good information on the blowout forums in the eBay section. And there's some eBay stalkers in there and they've like, oh yeah, I keep track of your eBay store like every day and look at what you're selling. I'm like, oh, I'm flattered by that. That shirt looks dangerously close to being a members only jacket. No, it's just I don't even know what this is. I think this is a Costco shirt, actually. It's got a little shark. I've got a blue one also. I'm pretty sure this is Costco. Are you moonlighting in the catering field? Is this better? What am I supposed to? I can't remember the rules on this. I think if it's a sporty shirt, you can show your skin. Or if it's a button-down shirt, you've got to zip it all the way up. Did I get that right? Cooter says, I've learned a lot on what to list by watching what sells in your store and others. Yeah, I look at other people's sales. And I'm just curious, like what's their sales look like? And it gives you an idea of what can sell. Now, some of the stuff you can go into my store, and I've got some, I'm trying to find... A lot of this is fairly new, but okay, like 20, this is a good example. A 2022 Bowman draft, Ryan Ritter, first Bowman, sold for 99 cents. Now, I wouldn't go out and buy a bunch of Ryan Ritter cards because A, it's 99 cents. B, that's been in my store for about a year and a half. Now, I had like 100, I'm down to like 87 left. Probably started at 175, 200 cards because I had so many 2022 Bowman draft. But sometimes it's like, yeah, you got to be careful because how long, if that card's sold, it's like, oh, I'm going to go buy one of these for 25, 50 cents. And if it sells for $2, but it takes 6 months to a year and maybe the only buyer. So I do watch, but I'm kind of cognizant of okay, what's the type? It's more of like, what's the type? And going back to Cooter, we're just going to dive right into what's selling. The first trip we took on my trip to Dallas and Oklahoma City, our first venture was to actually straight from the airport. We went to the card shop, MM7, and what I love, I just for my personal collection, I love in-person autographs because you can get them cheap, but sometimes they sell for decent. And I'm not talking go out and buy what was the Rock in-person autos and run into that. But if you can find Brian Bashnagel, Bob Avellini, Troy Tulowitzki, like that type of stuff, you can get it for $1 or even a couple bucks. It's good stuff. And, you know, I like it. I was able to add a bunch of autographs to my own collection through that box. And now as I'm selling through, I just listed a bunch of those yesterday and a bunch of them sold. Like within 5 minutes, I sold like 6 or 7, like Whit Merrifield, Will Myers, like a whole bunch. Giordano was a Royals fan. Giordano Ventura. I'm like, damn. You know, I can't remember what the total was, but let's see. It's probably close to $40, $30-$40 on those sales. And $5-$6 was my total spend. Actually, maybe a little less than that because I got a deal. Didn't quite pay $1 on those cards. So I'm always when I'm at the National, there's a booth at the National that has like all autographs, like all in-person autographs and TTM or whatever they are. And I spend hours there mostly to add to my own collection. I love minor league autos the most because like who's going to have are you going to find a Braz Davis auto on eBay? Maybe. Now I'm curious. Braz Davis. He's a good TTMer, by the way. Here, I wanted to open a new tab. But like that's just a minor leaguer from the Peoria Chiefs back in like the 80s. Right. Is anybody selling a Braz Davis auto? No. There are no Braz Davis. Oh, there is. There's a Witherville Cubs. Is that right? Witherville? I think that's in West Virginia. $5.99 plus $2.99 shipping, but it's probably been on eBay for 10 years. Who's going to pay almost $10 for a Braz Davis? Shit, Braz Davis auto. So some of those I'm on the lookout for, and as I'm adding to my own collection, I'm like, oh, this might sell. Maybe it's a washed up prospect or a former number 1 overall pick. And sometimes I made the same mistake. I bought another Pat Venditti auto out of the dollar box. Now, I only paid $1. I paid, actually, last time I was in Dallas. Before this time, I bought a Pat Venditti auto. Now, Pat Venditti was ambidextrous. He threw right-handed and left-handed as a pitcher and made the big leagues. He was a big deal back in 2016, 17, 18, whenever it was. And so his stuff was flying. Well, it's been several years removed. His stuff doesn't fly. In fact, I still have a Pat Venditti, and I think it's an actual, manufactured from the company auto that I paid $250 for that's just not moving in my eBay store. And it's, been 2 years. And as I was going through that box, I'm like, fuck, why did I buy a Pat Venditti? I haven't sold the one I bought 2 years ago yet. Where we at? Zach says, I only share my feedback with the individual seller, not a bunch of random collectors paired with coupon cutting tips and Bitcoin updates. John says, it's a Greg Norman, great 90s brand. I met my wife on MySpace. I met many of the friends I enjoy on YouTube. John says, what did they used to call those button-down shirts without collars? Button-down shirts without collars. I don't know. Is there a name for them other than Amish? Henley. Henley, correct. Well done. Merle's in the house. Good morning. John says, I went to a friend's murder mystery last night. My wallet got murdered, and it's a mystery why I agreed to go. Those are pretty expensive, aren't they? Those like murder mystery dinners. Mark says, I've seen Henley or a Mandarin. I wish my wife had just dropped me off at Dogtopia while she went. Dogtopia, hey, that's our doggy daycare. I unhooked the hoses after the first frost. We haven't even had a frost yet. Actually, I think one time. I think we've had one like light frost. but we have not even had a frost. That's how warm it's been this fall in Wisconsin. And it wasn't even like a heavy frost. It was just a little bit. It's like, oh, it's a little chilly. It was in the, I think, upper 30s. I think that's the lowest it's been so far, like upper 30s. Lefty Lucy. Zach says, I don't think it's legal to get a flu shot if you drink mushroom coffee. It's one thing to share HIPAA info regarding your dog. It's another to flaunt your illegal activity on live streams. Do better. Someone posted a meme about the My Pillow guy being named Surgeon General. Flu shots will be mandatory. Surgeon, wouldn't that be? Oh my God. Dan's in the house. What's up? I will do my outside stuff this weekend. One more cut to pull up leaves. I love this. Joys owning the place I live in full time. What's crazy is my neighbor did a bunch of like leaf cutting. There's like no leaves in my yard, and he's got a bunch of trees in like his yard. I don't know what's happening. I don't know if like our landscape company put like anti-leaf guard down on my grass, but there's like no leaves in my yard. It's crazy. My neighbor, you can tell the border. It's almost like my neighbor comes in and shovels leaves from my yard to his yard in the morning. Like you can see the border of like my yard, grass, no leaves. And then all of a sudden his yard is just plastered in leaves. It's the weirdest thing. I look every morning, I go out and I'm like, how does this happen? And it's been windy. I don't get it. I do not. It fascinates me every morning. Snook's in the house. Good morning. John has a serious question. How close to dying is Twitter? Man, I tell you what, and this is serious. I go on Twitter less and less because there's not even, at least on my phone, can you do it on your, for you. Okay, I'm going to do following. So maybe on my phone, it's on for you, but it's like nothing but fucking bullshit. Like everything is politics, and I don't want to see that shit. In fact, I've gone through and unfollowed a bunch of people that were posting nothing but stupid political shit. But yeah, it's like, and I loved Twitter. I don't love all the bullshit politics I keep seeing. But yeah, it's bad. It's really bad. Dan says, actually fell asleep for 3 hours after I got home from work. Hope to go to bed for the night shortly. Afraid I'll be awake for a while longer. Isn't that the shit? It feels so good to take a little snooze, a little afternoon nap until like bedtime. And then it's like, I am wide awake. John says, I rent, Zach. My parents do all of that outside stuff. Dan going through a growth spurt. John, that is a sweet way to do it. 1990 NBA hoops. Oh, hey, Mark Jackson. You got the Menendez brothers. Auctions actually always work. You just don't get the price you want. They still work. That's correct. Sometimes you don't get sometimes you just don't even sell. John says, after late 80s Don Russ, I want to go back to this, but also if I put auctions, if I don't like if I don't move a buy it now to an auction, if I'm like on the night last night listing on the couch, auctions, if some of those don't sell, I will just move them to buy it now. And I've sold a ton, like the Ryan Sandbergs. I have sold almost all of the Ryan Sandbergs I listed. I had 135 Sandbergs at auction, 99-cent auction. Some of them sold for like $25-$30. And the rookies all sold for in the $10 range. But there was probably 90 that didn't sell. I switched them all to buy it now, $2, I think, maybe $1.75. And most of them have sold at buy it now, like within a couple of weeks. Like Ryan Sandbergs have just been flying out of my eBay store. That's another thing that's been selling. Now, again, going back to, I wouldn't recommend going and rating a quarter box or a dollar box for Ryan Sandberg cards. Well, Bo told me Ryan Sandberg cards are selling. I think it's a unique case for me. I'm 1 million Cubs. And there's a lot of Cubs collectors that follow me. And then all of a sudden, hey, he's got Ryan Sandberg cards that I need. So it's just kind of building that following. And there you go. After late 80s Donruss, 1990s hoops might be the most widely printed cards ever. Yeah. But you got the Mark Jackson, Menendez brothers. The Sam Vincent used to sell really well. It doesn't move like it used to, but the one with Michael Jordan in the background. And it's not just Michael Jordan in the background. It's Michael Jordan wearing jersey number 12 because the photo was taken the one night when Jordan's jersey was stolen out of the locker room. So it's like the only card with Jordan wearing jersey number 12 in the background of the Sam Vincent card. I'm sure it still does sell. Let's see if let's share our screen here. Let's see. Does the Sam Vincent sell? 1990 NBA hoops, Sam Vincent. There you go. See, there's Jordan in the foreground, I guess. These are all listing price. So let's go to sold. Well, still selling for close to $5. So $3.69 plus. Oh, look at that. $3.69 plus 69 cents shipping. Although I think 69 cents is actually the correct amount of postage. It's not just some adolescent joke. Here's a PSA 9 that sold for $30. Here's one at auction that went for $1.29 plus $1.25 shipping. $4 for buy it now. So the $4 for buy it now. So it's still selling. So there you go. Sam Vincent, 1990 NBA hoops with Michael Jordan in the foreground wearing jersey number 12. That's a card that sells. 1990 and 1991 Pro Set tells Keating to hold his beer. Oh my God. In the non-baseball bulk, I think 1990 Pro Set, I see the absolute most. Baseball, it's probably, God, there's so many. I couldn't name a product because there's so, from 88 to 92, it's just name a set. Oh yeah, that's the most. Oh wait, yeah, that's the most. For football, I think it's definitely 1990 Pro Set. And that might be like overall. Like I just feel like every single box I open has 1990 Pro Set. Basketball, it probably is 1990 NBA hoops. That's probably the set that I see the most in basketball. 90 NBA hoops. Let's see. Brian says, you know what happens when you assume you make an asshole out of yourself? Name that movie reference. Ooh, I don't know. I'm terrible with movie quotes. But I do remember my my high school PE teacher, our football coach, he always said, you know what assuming does? He also says, oh, you know what Kant did? That was his famous one. You know what Kant did? Kant did shit. He didn't say shit, though. Kant did shit. I can't do it. It was probably like the dudes during our gymnastics course in PE. I can't do the splits. You know what Kant did? Kant did shit. Where are we at? John says, I sell a lot of hockey. Your grandpappy's hockey, but I sell a lot of hockey. I'm going to run some vintage hockey at auction maybe tonight. Because I've got not a ton, but maybe like 20 70s hockey cards that I just randomly find in boxes. So I've actually been putting some hockey together I've got a giant Young Guns. These probably don't sell worth shit. I don't even know who Liam Foudy is. I don't know most hockey players, so it doesn't matter. Gundy's in the house. Good morning. Dan says they will be fortunate to get 6 wins now. It's like when I say 6, it's like, well, to get to 6 wins, they have to go 3-5. And it's like, can they get 3 more wins this season? Fuck. Bad news, Chicago Bears. Zach says, I enjoy the hockey cards John added to his store. When TJ Mack shares vintage hockey on his channel, it's poetry paired with art. Hockey vintage is underrated. Johnny M, what's up? Good morning. John says, your takes are vintage. I don't believe Eberflus has won a game against a team over 500. I think you're correct. I think that is correct. And that's like in the 2 years. This is his second year, right? Or third year. John says currently ranked number 253 on trading card database Frank Thomas standings. Don't sleep on me, coming after the big boys. And I am neglecting TCDB. I need to like make time. I have time. I just choose I just want to lay on the couch for now. Trading card database. I can just share this. I do it for the hose. Look at that. What a shirt. I do it for the hose. So here's my stats. Let's do top names. So these are from what I've logged so far. I have 822 Ernie Banks cards logged, 552 Dylan Cease, 481 Ethan Roberts, and 411 Javier Baez. So let's on the Ernie Banks standings. I have 328 unique. Of course, this is not all of my Ernie Banks. I still have more to log. I am ranked number 7, but I've got a ways to go. CDs for me is in 6th place with 498. So I've got a lot of ways to go. When it's all said and done from my collection, I still am not going to have 2,879 unique Ernie Banks cards. I don't even know if I'd get to 700. I'm going to say it's probably between 3rd and 4th. I might have more than 558, may not have as many as 659 when it's all said and done, after I count after I log everything. Dylan Cease, I am number 1, 124 Dylan Cease cards logged. I think I have one more to log. I'm at 124, ranks number 1. Look at Zach. Hey, Zach's up to 80 though. And then let's look at Cubs. And of course, I have like what 10,000 out of a million logged, so a long way to go. I have 3,642 unique Cubs logged, which ranks me 177. And I know I'll be able to blow past 23,052. So I love trading card database. I need to give it more time and attention. But as I'm caught up on shipping for the most part, I'll get some auctions done. And today, thank you, John Keating. Thank you, Cooter. Today I am gonna mark off 1 hour to log Cubs cards on trading card database. Zach says, I'd pay to see Bo naked. I said it. Ugh. Bo Spencer is a great OnlyFans name. Scale up your store with some extra skin for the win. Zach says, John, that is impressive. Cooter, I love it. TCDB rankings is the poor man's PSA set registry. Absolutely. Abso-frickin-lutely. John says, I'm a poor man, so that fits. Johnny is doing 10% off anything sale and moving lots of older inventory. End sell similar is a big help. I haven't done too many end sell similars. Every once in a while, I'll do that. But my sales, and this is like the biggest fear I had before doing some of the big 50% off sales I ran was I didn't want if I just listed this card a week ago, I don't want to give it away. Now I'll take offers on it, but do I want to sell it at half price? But what I found is that a lot of older inventory moves. It's really awesome. Now, I'm glad it's working for Johnny, and I hope it works for others. It works for me. But again, just because it works for us doesn't necessarily mean it'll work for you. And you may be like, well, I just listed these cards yesterday and they sold for 50% off. You can also pick and choose, exclude, anything. You can do it by price. Somebody was asking me at the card show on Saturday about this. It's like, yeah, you can exclude. In fact, not the most previous 50% off sale I ran, but the one before it, I ran only like cards under $20 were eligible for $50 off. John says, I like the rankings because there's no condition money flex. Absolutely. I like the rankings because it motivates me. Like it's, otherwise I just like, what do you want to do? What now? What? Well, I want to organize them. When are you going to organize them? When I get time. When do I get time? I just don't make time. I have time. I just don't make it. I don't commit to it. So the rankings actually are somewhat of a motivator for me in kind of getting them organized to an extent. And then like, oh, hey, I want to be number one on the Dylan Cease collection. I want to keep going up and eventually be number one in the Cubs collection once I get everything logged or a good amount logged. And I love like minor league sets because you can just go in and like, oh, here's a sealed minor league set, 1990 Witherville Cubs. Where we at? Zach says the rankings are great because I find other people who collect the same person trade dupes for dupes. Genius. Hey, that is good. Josh Harvey's in the house. What's happening? How do you decide to do shipping on some cards and others being free? Up to 8,000 listings. I do all free ship, but see, you do some with shipping and handling. The only ones I do with shipping and handling are auctions. All of my buy it now items are free shipping. All of my auction listings have shipping. So that's why you're seeing some listings with shipping. Because a lot of times cards sell for, if I'm putting it at auction, I want to make something, right? I don't want to sell 99. I'll sell 99-cent cards, buy it now, but that's just part of my buy it now strategy. Auctions, I don't want to lose money on auctions. So I want to build that shipping cost in there. Cooter says, John, we should do our own showdown, showcase showdown. Points will be awarded for the worst condition example. John says you need to factor flight parking mileage into your margins. Absolutely. At the end of the month, I'm not going to do it like, oh, hey, this card sold for $5 and I bought it for $1. I mean, at the end of the month, all of those expenses from that trip, pizza, beer, cards, travel, etc. That all goes into it. Absolutely. But on a card by card basis, I'll say, hey, this sold for $5. I paid $1 for it. But yes, there are other expenses that go into it. I'm not going to worry about that now. I'll worry about that at the end of the month when we're doing all the calculations. It's like, oh shit, I made more money than I thought, or didn't make as much money as I thought. So yeah, those expenses do get fed into it eventually, but I'm not micro. I'm not doing that on a micro level on every card that I sell. Like, oh, this card just sold for $3.50. I paid 50 cents for it. I'm not going to do that. But at the end of the month, that $3.50 sale goes with all the other sales, that airplane ticket and those dinners and whatever else expense goes into that, and they all get pooled, and that's how it works. And then the accountant can do all of his magic. Johnny M says, I was under the impression that you couldn't sell uncertified autos on eBay. Oh, absolutely. Abso-freaking-lutely. Or can you, as long as you don't get caught? No, there is no rule against selling uncertified autos. How do you guarantee that they aren't fake? Seems like an unnecessary risk. Well, I'm not. Here's the thing. I'm selling Brian Bashnagel, and that's probably going to be listed for $5. So if somebody says I submitted this and it's fake, then I refund the $5. So now if it's The Rock, I'm going to submit that to authentication. I have a Paul Molitor autograph that came in like a Goodwill pallet. It looks legit, but Paul Molitor's a Hall of Famer, and so I'm hesitant to list that, and I don't want to list that for sale. But if I'm going through boxes of TTM autographs, especially minor league stuff, who's going to be forging Bob Avellini and Brian Bashnagel? Let's see. In Cooter's cut, don't be a sponge. Tip your host. Cooter, tips aren't taxable anymore. I found 25 Hall of Fame autographs at Uncle Rich's show. Dobie, Berra, Joe Green, Earl Campbell for $5 each. Only 3 came back not authentic. Wow. That's a pretty good margin. Who's certifying whether autos are certified? Are you sure it's not amphibious? That is awesome, Stuke. My latest funnest purchase was a Pat Venditti auto. I love it. Very cool. Bo tipped in kind with a binder full of Giants cards. Yeah. People are funny with their self-declared eBay pronouncements. Ambidextrous is both arms of that is what he said. Pat Venditti lives in Peoria. Really? Oh, he is from the Chicago area. I think he's originally from like Elgin or somewhere around there. Pat Venditti lives in Peoria and works with a former player of mine. He was going to come throw BP to us a couple of years ago when we went to sectionals. Very cool. Very cool. Dave Arnold, baseball coach at Bushnell Prairie City High School, west of Peoria. Zach and Porter says we have one next weekend, $75 a person. Ooh. Talking about mystery murder dinners. Merle says, I always like to piss people off by saying Pat Venditti was amphibious. It's fun to see some people just nod and think I used the right word. Tracy's in the house. What's up? John says, most shows I go to have multiple auto-only tables. I avoid as it's not my scene. I like the cards more than the autos. And I like both. Especially like Cubs minor league autos. Like one of my favorite, and probably my favorite purchase of the entire weekend was Yusuf Carter. Now, who's forging a Yusuf Carter? I don't even think Yusuf Carter made AA, but he's the nephew of Joe Carter, who's an Oklahoma City guy. And he played in the Cubs system, much like his uncle Joe. And there was a Yusuf Carter. I never got his autograph. When he was with the Cubs system. I was doing big into TTM back then. I was going to Peoria Chiefs games when he played, and I could never get him in person. He would never return cards through the mail. It's like, I want a Yusuf Carter autograph. And then there was a Yusuf Carter. I'm like, oh my God. I felt like I probably made the same reaction finding a Yusuf Carter autograph in a dollar box that I did finding a Walter Payton rookie card at the estate sale. I was so excited. Zach says corn sweat still paying dividends. Yeah, it's that corn. We got a lot of corn sweat, and it's keeping things warm up here in Wisconsin. Zach says there are no leaves because Frank still comes by to take care of your lawn and your wife's desires. That's creepy and gross. John says we had leaf gathering next door yesterday. Whole street shut down. Leaf dudes treating the area like there's a bomb scare. The first time we had leaf gathering I noticed it first in our old neighborhood, all these people were like piles of leaves on the curb. And it might have been a few years ago because I was working in the office, the upstairs office, which looked right out of the street. And this like giant truck comes along with this super huge like suction. And it's like vacuums up all these leaves. I'm like, that's the coolest motherfucking thing I've ever seen. Okay. I live a sheltered life. Stooge says, moved from our lake home 5 years ago, 200 to 300 bags of leaves every fall. Don't miss it. Just be like me and just don't worry about it. Just be like, if the leaves fall, they fall. And then you let them sit there and it's good for the ground. At least that's what I thought. It's good for the grass, nice cover over the winter. And then you mow them in the spring. Rinse and repeat. I look at my neighbors as they're like raking leaves and I'm like, you're a dumbass. What are you doing? Let the wind blow them. If they stay, they stay. It's meant to be. John says, Mother Nature redistributes my leaves, trickle down leafonomics. See, that's my philosophy. Like, let Mother Nature take its course. Merle says, I don't think he will be the Surgeon General. Brings up a question on why you don't hear about surgeon colonels or majors. How do they jump all the way up to generals? That's a good question. Sports card ripping teacher says, are we way behind? I think we are like 20 minutes behind in the chat. Cutting your grass low this time of year will help the leaves blow right over instead of getting caught. That must be it. Grass must be short. My neighbor's grass must be long. Most social media is nothing but bullshit. There's a lot of truth to that. Vince has a solid top for people in this chat who own a home they live in full-time or do chores for their landlord. Andy Mack says, I can't stand Twitter anymore now that Musk pushes every fucking tweet of his to my account. Yeah, I hear you. Dan says, actually, I hate naps and the way I feel after waking up from them. Sometimes naps are good, and sometimes they're just like, yeah. Like there's a good afternoon nap. Like in the summer, the windows are open and you just fall asleep, and then you wake up and you're like, ooh, I feel good. But then there's sometimes where you like, and I think you're sleeping too long, where you wake up. I'm talking like 20-minute naps, not like 3-hour, 2-hour naps. Like don't fall into the REM sleep, because then you wake up and you're like groggy and tired. And yeah. John says, my dog has mastered both naps and nighttime sleep. Dude is living his best life. Hell yeah. Ernie loves his naps, especially after doggy daycare. He's like so tired some days that he'll follow me around. I'll be in the kitchen, like, I don't know, putting a frozen pizza in the oven or something. And he'll just flop down on the hardwood floor. And it's so surprising. And I know most dogs probably do this, but Biscuit was not. Like, Biscuit hated the hardwood floors. She wanted like the softest pillows and beds. Very, very diva. So to look at Ernie and like he's just sprawled out on the kitchen floor, just like chill. And it's funny. Tom from MySpace was the peak of all of this. Tom knew how to dress. Sam Vincent card is a sleeper. Zach says it's a $3 to $5 card. Tom Bullard is here. What's up? Baseball has been moving well for me on Buy It Now lately, retired and current. I was going to mention that. Because I noticed some of my auctions, some of my prospect auctions, Dylan Cruz, first Bowman Chrome, is up to $2. And I don't know when the auction ends, but it's up to $2. And I ran it on a Tuesday night auction recently, and it only sold for $1.25. So I think we're maybe early. I mean, it's only mid-November, but I don't know. Maybe the prospect market, maybe we're not seeing as big of a decline on some of that we've seen in the past. Remains to be seen. We'll find out here over the next couple months. But that was a pleasant surprise when I saw some of those bids come in on some of the first Bowman Chromes that I had listed. Using foreground as a word, Mr. Joe College. They changed the Sam Vincent card midstream with him dribbling in a black jersey. Was that the same? It's a different card though, isn't it? Isn't that a Series 2? Yeah, I think those are different cards. Sam Vincent. Now I'm curious. Did they change it, or is it just a different series? 1990. Oops. Sam Vincent. So this is card 223. I'm not going to find it on eBay because it's all going to be the Jordan. I guess I could go to TCDB. Oh, and I removed my TCB screen. Somebody's already in the chat saying, oh, it's Series 2. I think Zach said that, but yeah, dribbling with the black jersey, which is actually the 9091, which is actually the picture on TCDB. It is. Oh, it is. It is a corrected version. Wait. No, one's first series, one's second series. It's the same number, though. Interesting. So one series 1, one series 2, but it's the same number in the set. I don't know. Cooter says, my dog had an accident in the hallway. Just found it with my bare foot. Oh, that is a crappy way to start a day. Ugh. Bo is terrible with movies, but can tell you the top high school rushing records in the state of Nebraska. The world went in the shitter when gym teachers stopped wearing whistles and started wearing non-Henley shirts. Bo spends his time on the shitter drawing up 8-man football trick plays. Trading card database. Database. How do I find top players in my collection? This might have been answered already. I can show you. Let's go through the chat and I can come back to this. Eat a bag of moldy crap. John says, I'm number one in Herb Washington and Ray Keating. They call that a dual threat. My collection, top by name. Look at Burley collectors. I bet I know who's top on Burley collectors. Korean cardboard. I think the only number one ranking I own is Dan Hampton. Number 3, Hester, but will never reach Greg Clark. Jerry Kramer is number of the day today, and his coach said, you can if you will. I like that. That's a good quote. You can if you will. Orlando says, Bo will be in Boca Raton 30 minutes from my house. Hey, yeah. I don't know how long I'm going to be down there, but maybe if I can get away, we can meet up for lunch or something. Let's see. John says, I need to call customer support. I can't find top players. Don't share my government name on your stream. Gosh darn you. See you in court, pal. John, I can FaceTime you later and show you if you want. You just need to pronounce the name correctly. Trading card database. About halfway through logging in the collection, second half will be brutal. Johnny M says, sold a card at auction, ended $20.50. eBay made me ship ground at $4 instead of ESE. I didn't think it would go that high. That sucks. That sucks when it's like the Derek Stingley, I'm going to ship in a 99-cent card. It's going to go in a bubble mailer because I charged $4.25 because I thought it would sell for $20. It sold for 99 cents. Bodo, no shit. I'm number 2 on Hampton now, says Zach. Well, that was a gut punch. Not sure how to bounce back from this. Let's see. I've got a Bears box. Can I look? Let's go back to trading card database. And even though Zach tells me to fuck off with my mispronunciation, how can I find? Oh, I can do this. So I have a basketball. I have a Chicago Bears box. Oh, I got to look at football, don't I? I've got a Chicago Bears. Come on. I've got a Chicago Bears box for my cousin who's coming up to my card show in a couple weeks. And I can go through it to see if there's any Dan Hamptons you don't have. Oh, man. And I don't know if I have 8 or 9 that you need, though. There's Zach. How do I find, what's this? 1 million cards? 98,000 cards in Zach's collection. Holy moly. Let's see. How can I find, because I don't have, do you have like cards you need? Or can I go back to Dan Hampton and look? No, because that just goes to, how can I find your want? Because I've tried doing this before. Collection. First letter of last name, Hampton. If Zach was trying to be incognito, he's incognito no longer. Hampton. Where's Hampton? Hampton. Dan Hampton. So this is like his collection, but is there a way to find what you don't have? Oh, halves. Once. Does this mean you don't have these? But I don't think I have these. I might have the 2016 Panini Classics. I might have the action-packed. Okay. John says, found a flaw in TCDB. Top name seems to only apply to a single sport and not multi-sport sets. Oh, interesting. But I think they drill down. So I think if you have, so if Ray Keating is also in a multi-sport set, I think Ray Keating will still show up on your top names list. You need to do all cards and all will get credit. I run into that with Bo and Dion. Brian says, I need my Bo Spencer card authenticated. Me too. The only authenticator I care about is the man upstairs. You're a believer. Bob Hosta says, Molitor signs a ton through the mail, so I don't think you have a ton to worry about him being forged. Okay, good deal. Idaho is upstairs, technically. The man upstairs, a.k.a. my landlord. Nothing sinks a subpar joke quicker than a typo. Sports card ripping teacher says, when I teach second graders to write cursive in the spring, I do have them practice on no-name baseball and football players, so be careful with what you buy. Cooter says, I can attest Bo was giddy over the Carter auto. I was. Where is Mike Smith? Where's Bitcoin? We don't have a Bitcoin update. Busy with skill games. Aha. That's probably true. Sports card ripping teacher says, Zach, there are some weekends where I will go outside to do some yard work, and I'll just start a fire and sit in the shed and listen to sports. John says, not sure what the Bible says about leaf clutter. Who cleaned the Garden of Eden before Adam showed up? It's over my head. Zach did. Yard work increases my cigar time. I don't mind it. They changed it, but it was in Series 2 wax boxes. Interesting. Zach says, I just opened a box and for the first time in my life own the corrected version. It's helping my TCDB Sam Vincent rankings. Time to work. If you do anything today, watch the Jerry Kramer Hall of Fame induction speech. Have a great day. I don't think I want to do that. DR, good morning. Cooter says, I once refunded a 75-cent overage above $20 and shipped ESE. Cooter says, my mom dated Dan Hampton's dad. Neither Dan nor I would be here had my dad not stolen her away. Zach says, you would hit cards in my collection in other members' want list. Those appear to be wants. I'm surprised I have any on there. You will be hearing from Gruber. One call, that's all. He's on retainer. Merle says, not sure if I missed it, but did we already cover how nice it is that StreamYard is working again? Yes, we did. Briefly. Yes, it's so nice. YouTube sucks. YouTube live, going live on YouTube sucks. Can't show messages, can't screen share. You just be looking at me the whole time, and nobody wants that. So what's selling on eBay? Everything. We talked about what's selling, right? I think we tackled the topic enough today, and we're over an hour. I need my mushroom coffee. Hit the like button if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel. Was there ads? I know yesterday some people were saying there were ads midway through the stream. Did that happen today? That must have been a YouTube thing because nobody said anything about it in the chat today. Alrighty, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Visit my eBay store, 99centcards.com. New auctions went live last night, and I hope to get some hockey listed at auction tonight. No ads today, says Peter. Excellent. We don't want ads in the middle of my live show. Another shitty thing about YouTube Live. So check out my eBay store, 99centcards.com. 25% off when you buy 7 or more in the Buy It Now section. That does not apply to the auctions. I do combined shipping on auctions. Just make sure you pay within 4 days. Otherwise, eBay will cancel those. I will, if there's multiple items you need in auctions at the end of each night, I will send a combined shipping invoice. You can let those roll over. I'll just send a new one the next night. But again, you do have to pay within 4 days. So have a wonderful Thursday. Have a great day. We'll do this again tomorrow, and we'll play Name That Player tomorrow morning on a free-for-all Friday. Have a great one. See you tomorrow.